Weekly Feed. Kyle Meredith here with the Johns of They Might Be Giants.
Kyle!
Welcome.
It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. We'll say that I hold Nanobots in my hand.
Fantastic.
Album 16? Is that right?
Yes, it is officially album 16,
Yes.
yeah.
I thought you were about to say you hold it in high esteem or
I,
something.
Yes.
I hold it in higher esteem now. No, that's fine. It's 16 albums. 16 albums, though.
Yep.
Does it just get... Not really, though. Does it ever just get like, oh, okay, the album got released?
We made a list of other
We're
bands'
exhausted.
16th albums, and it stacks up reasonably well against almost every artist that has gotten to the point of making a 16th album, except possibly for the Rolling Stones, whose 16th album was Some Girls. So
Yeah.
that was
So
a little
we
bit,
felt a little
you know,
kind of like stung a little bit by the quality of Some Girls.
Yeah.
That's a really good album.
I don't know if this is our Some Girls.
Some Girls is better than our album.
Right.
Well, all in all, it has been really awesome to kind of see everything that you guys have done in your career.
Oh, thank you.
Because what you said, 'cause you know that it's a They Might Be Giants record. You know when you hear it, it's like, oh, it's They Might Be Giants, but you are always kind of trying to put different soundscapes and whatever else in your records, and that's
Yeah.
also fun to keep up with.
Yeah.
But through the years, so you do have this building momentum in the 80s, and then the mainstream success, the 90s, it goes down a little bit, and then the last decade has been so great.
It has been good
seemingly
for
to
us.
you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. We've done a lot of different things. We've started doing kids music, which was almost instantly as like big a deal as our adult career. So it was like
Sure.
all of a sudden we had like twice as much stuff going on, and that was interesting. And but just getting back to like the does it ever seem the same? I mean, I think the truth of it is you can take the the self-loathing and turn it around. Like if you're working on music and you're sick of yourself, that's actually that's fuel for writing new kinds of stuff and working in different ways. It's like you can be way down the rabbit hole of recording and still find a way to get something
Sure.
good out of the experience, I think. And there's stuff on this new record that is actually kind of uncharted territory. I mean, I shouldn't be so
No,
cruel.
there's dark songs. I mean, "Call You Mom," I feel like is one that we're going to be talking about for a while. But it's
don't
at
know.
first it turns creepy, but then you think that character is just sad. That's a sad
Yeah.
character.
I don't. Is it so? To me, it seems. I don't know. It doesn't seem so
like what?
twisted.
Like there is something in the title alone that leads to a great backstory, an unsaid backstory. It's
I'd like
can
to
I
speak
call
to
you
the
mom?
women. I'd like to speak to the women watching this wherever this is going to show up. The idea of men sort of being on a Peter Pan kind of trip, I don't think that's uncharted territory. I don't think that's an unfamiliar idea.
Sure. Sure.
I think the song is kind of tapping into a kind of universal thing among contemporary men in the culture. And while the men might not want to admit it, I think the women know what's going on.
Well, Peter Pan, you bring that up. They might
Peter
be
Pan,
giants.
Oedipus, I
Yeah,
think,
well,
yeah.
well,
Oedipus Pan.
That brings up a point. Oedipus Pan seems like it should be something entirely at this point. Can you use "They Might Be Giants" to never have
It's
to
just
grow
Call
up?
You Mom. It's just Call You Mom, right? It's not. It doesn't go any. It's
No. Do you need to retrace the song right
No,
now?
no,
Are
no,
you
no.
trying to think like, what did
No,
I
I'm just-
say?
no,
in
no,
that? No, do you guys get to use this band
He
as
wrote
a,
that great
My
song.
song, yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys get to use this band though as an excuse to never ever have to grow up if you don't want to? Because you've got a great reputation.
Oh,
You're
this-
able to
this
use
is a-
that.
Oh, well,
You're
that's
able to-
hardball, man.
No. The truth.
We're not going that deep.
The truth is that we are. One of the things that's tough about being like professionally happy is that people really look at if you're having a hard day, people are just wondering. It's like, how come Krusty's in such a mood? It's just like it's we're adults. We got adult problems.
Sure.
Like we can there are big challenges in our lives that are hard to.
But you have a license. Like you can get away if you wanted to. We're not going to question either one of you. It's like they get to. They might be.
Well, I
giants.
think,
I
I think you're
guess.
right that we officially get to do stuff that we don't even give ourselves permission to do.
Yeah.
We don't, and which is at our age now is actually completely uninteresting to us.
Sure.
So I mean, it's not just about the cliched rock lifestyle, but that's certainly something that
Which is awesome.
just John and I
Cliched, yeah.
essentially passed on. Like
That's the
we
Peter
were
Pan
we were in
existence.
our 20s in a rock band, and we didn't take advantage of it then, and so
Right.
now it's sort of like, well, should I start now? Should I vomit on myself now? Would that be a smart thing to do?
But I guess there is this interesting idea because we have like humor in what we're doing that people assume that we're not just a total drag, and I'm here to say we are.
A total drag.
Total drag.
That's the one license we do afford ourselves.
It's the life of the jester, right?
Yes,
Always the sad clown. With
no one understands.
No, that actually brought up a quote, and I can't remember at this point if it was John Entwistle or John Bonham that was saying that they didn't get famous to a certain age, and at that point, what's fame?
Oh, John Entwistle definitely expressed that
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah,
Like he said, I'm too old to enjoy
Right, that was
this
it.
now, you know.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then he died.
And then he died.
Right, right. Well,
This interview took a dark
But he was
turn.
very famous really young. I mean, I think those guys, you know, we didn't start really making albums until our late 20s and didn't get any kind of any sort of anything that would kind of turn your head around kind of success until we were probably like 29 or 30. So I feel like we actually lucked out in the like mind-bending part of success. Like
we didn't have the child star issue.
Yeah.
No Charlie Sheen moments for you guys.
I think it would be very hard to be 20 and be in a successful rock band. I don't know how well prepared anybody could be for that.
That's when
kind
most
of thing.
people do it, though. I mean, if
Yeah,
you
I
can
know.
make it, it's
I know.
a you thing.
And I think it would like kind of twist you around. I mean, it was very easy for us to be, you know, if we were like doing something like, I mean, when like, you know, Birdhouse took off in the UK, like we were kind of shot out of the same cannon that every pop act gets shot out of, and you know, we're on top of the pops and things are, you know, all that kind of frothy, crazy, teeny boppery stuff was happening, and it just seemed like, you know, we were 30 years old. It was like, you know, okay, sure, you know, like we could relate to the, you know,
I can pay off my my student
That's what
loan.
it's about, right?
right. You know, I mean, it made communication with, right. Well, that's I did that, but
First car, big house. No, credit card bills. Yes, debt free.
yeah. So I mean, I think we kind of lucked out in that way because it just made all the whole roller coaster of it all just seems like one ride rather than like everything's great. No, it's bad.
Sure.
You know, it's just like you kind of take the good with the bad.
You can take it.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this CD actually specifically a little
Sure.
bit. So Nanobots in its number 16 is going on. You guys have reprised the whole thing about short songs scattered throughout.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's slightly different because we haven't done the short songs scattered throughout thing before, so that's new for us. Right.
I mean, speaking of John Entwistle, I was, you know, while we were putting the record together, I listened to the album The Who Sell Out, which is a great record on
Jingles throughout.
It's got jingles throughout, and it also has like some kind of montagey song at the end. It's a really wide open way of putting together an album, and it was, you know, definitely. I mean, there are a lot of, you know, in the history of rock, there's like a lot of interesting montagey albums, but I think it's worthwhile. It's, you know, I don't think we'd do it every time, but it certainly helped people kind of take notice of this album, which is interesting.
But that's definitely separated, of course, from Join Us as well. When I hear these, I just get the image that you guys, you know, what's the random word that I just heard right now? Like somebody can walk down the sidewalk and be like, oh, there's a candy wrapper. Hey, candy wrapper in my pocket. And
well,
that
I'm
would
sure
become
that
a
would
Make
be.
Me Giants song.
I'm sure that would be a good parody of
Life would be easier for us.
Hey,
I think
candy wrapper.
if that was how we worked.
What you doing on the ground?
So is there so much work though that can get that? I mean, do you work on? You can't work on those songs as long as you work on the other
we
songs,
really don't want to give the impression that it's
what's
something you don't spend any time on.
What's the smart answer to something like that? Well, you know, like I mean,
I'm not trying to paint you into a corner here.
No, I understand. Right. We'll wait till the paint to dry.
Yeah, right, and then you can walk out on your own.
Right. No, I mean, there's one of the really short tracks on the song on the album is a song called Nouns that is about running out of nouns, which I think is something that's crossed our mind, that we've written songs with almost every.
Sure.
You know,
you can't put man after too many more things at this
right.
point.
Yeah,
right.
it's a sort of reductive way of thinking about songwriting.
We got the dog ones, we got the bird one, we got.
But you realize, like, in some ways, that's an outsider's view of what we do. I mean, it's kind of a joke because, in fact, the song is not about the noun. It's really something else, and ideally, it's this irreducible, you know, landscape. And I think that's what we're always hoping for, you know, is to make something that you can't tell where it starts. I think the best songs that we do, my sense is that they give you the impression that it was impossible to write. There's no way to write that song because there's nowhere to start.
The other, I guess, the hook to it that you guys have you know, been known for the whole time is that type of educational song that you did. And that's that has been talked about, you know, for every record, and it's great, and it's one of the great qualities. So what I guess I'm wondering, though, is when you write those, is it that you're saying it would be really good to make sure people know who James K. Polk is, or is it really just geek masturbation?
No, it's neither one of those things.
It's neither.
You have a choice, John. Geek masturbation or doing something for the public good.
Yeah.
Make your choice.
I mean, the interesting thing about Polk is that the idea of that song was this sort of trippy thing of doing a song that didn't appear to have any personality. Like it was like the textbook is singing.
Like a cipher.
Yeah, and there wasn't any plan to do any more like that. And in fact, I don't think any of the other songs that are sort of biographical are in that mode, because the other ones like Ensor have there's an opinion behind it. So I really don't think I don't think any of them are alike. We've been sort of identified as a band that does what sounds like informational songs, and really, if you look at them, each one is different, and some of them, I mean, the weird thing about Polk is I actually have stuff to say about James K. Polk, like highly opinionated stuff that it doesn't get into the song whatsoever. You know, like he's a controversial.
What state are we in?
But it does actually bring up another interesting point to you guys' career, because you can take They Might Be Giants song at face value. Are there underlying messages? You have lots of opinions about James K. Polk. Do you guys ever say, you know what, I feel like this about some political anything?
I would say that in general our stuff is available up front. In other words, we don't do secret messages. You know, that's not. I don't. In some ways, I don't feel personally like that's cool. Like I kind of like this song to tell you what it's telling you, and there not to be any code in it.
It'd be a very strange impulse, actually, to
have an agenda.
We're already writing like songs that are kind of hard to a little bit oblique sometimes. You know, I mean, a lot of times there's like very compressed thought in some songs. And it's you're just trying to figure out how to get this idea across.
But if it's elliptical, then that's what you get. In other words, that there's no missing part. It's like that's what the song is.
Right.
Yeah. You know?
I mean, it's almost like if there are missing parts within a song, like if it is sort of impossible to wrap your head around, the whole idea is to give you that, to generate whatever that impression is.
Exactly.
And like leave you, it's interesting. I mean, somebody said to me a while ago, like, people don't know they want to be surprised. And it is like this thing about a mysterious song that, there's in the book of like how to write a hit song, there's no part that says like, do something that's really unknowable and mysterious, and it will capture people's imaginations and kind of spark their minds up a little bit. And but that's obviously what a lot of people want out of music. They don't want to just have like their prosaic world kind of echoed back at them. They actually like the imaginative stuff.
The puzzle, the unraveling.
Yeah, the puzzle. Yeah.
I think some people do probably want this thing that we don't give them, which is,
well, people hate us.
An explanation.
Right.
Some people demand an explanation.
Well, I think, country, contemporary country music is actually like, a good example of like, you couldn't be more earthbound in a way. But I find, I feel like my head's in a vice.
Talk about repetitive. You use the word good and contemporary country in the same sentence. Not together, but
well,
in the same sentence.
I don't know.
We're not here to knock country music.
No.
Yeah.
We can,
if
but we're
you
not
don't
here
like
to knock
country music.
No, I guess what it brought it back to was that, I'd heard a critic say that like Black Ops, a political song, and I listen to Black Ops and I go, well, I guess.
Well,
I
Black
don't get
Ops
it
is a really weird song.
Yeah.
I can't. I wouldn't even know how to back up far enough to explain or defend it. I mean, it's kind of about, it is a political song in its ultimate way. It's about morality in a way, but it's also just such a weird experiment in
creepiness.
Who the narrator
seems to be running throughout this
right.
thing.
Who the narrator is in that song is a really he's a very cavalier guy. Like, and it's strange to sort of celebrate him. Yeah. That voice. Somebody's probably really mad already.
Well, it's fun celebrating the creepiness of Nanobots, album number 16.
Another adult album from They Might Be Giants.
You gotta
hide it
those
from your children.
Yes. No, this is great. Thank you guys so much for stopping by for the conversation.
Thanks for having us.
For continuing and not giving up.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Right.